I'm good. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So, you are originally from Spokane, Washington. You currently reside in Nashville. Um, I first heard of you through some fellow local artists in the Nashville area. And I think you have done shows with two women in particular. One I just saw in person yesterday. Ashley Taylor
Ashley Taylor.
and Taylor Hughes.
Wonderful. Those are
So,
two of my best pals in Nashville. I adore them.
and Taylor is from my neck of the woods in Lexington. She moved to Nashville, and I see she met some peoples, and I seen, and she's booked some shows. I mean, not booking shows, but she's part of shows that with you and Ashley. And I've already interviewed Ashley, and now I interviewed Taylor, and now I'm interviewing you. So it's just quite the connection. So I'm cool with that. So Taylor's cool people. So I'm glad that she's doing good out there in Nashville. For you, let's go and get started. How did you get started into music?
So basically, I really do feel like I have my father to thank. I was about 7 years old, and I remember my dad sang in the choir at church, and they actually had a choir for children. And I remember he was like, I want to encourage you to join the choir at church. I really feel like you would enjoy it. And I still remember this conversation, and I still remember being caught off guard, and I was like, what do you mean I'd like it? And he must have noticed that I was singing around the house or something. He must have known that I would be somewhat musically inclined or at least enjoy it a little bit. And so I went ahead and I joined, and I absolutely loved it. And I started joining choir at school all the way up until I went to college. And it was when I was about 11 or 12 years old. My parents both listened to some country music. I remember my mom had a Brooks and Dunn CD. She had a Fireflies by Faith Hill CD. And my dad would turn on the country station every now and then in the car. And I remember we were driving home one day, and he turned on the country station. And in that moment, a song came on by a young woman, and she was singing about Tim McGraw. And having really only heard of Faith Hill through my mom, and I knew they were married, I was like, oh, this has to be Faith Hill. But it's actually a girl named Taylor Swift. And so I remember learning about Taylor, over the next few months, and learning that she wasn't that much older than me, and she played guitar and she wrote songs. And at this point, I was really enjoying music through choir, and I was really enjoying writing stories as well. And I never really thought to combine those two things until I kind of discovered that that's exactly what Taylor was doing. And I discovered that that's what country music was all about, was telling stories and putting them to music. So I started begging my dad for a guitar. And I really had to beg him for about a year and prove to him that I was going to stick with it. And I was about 13 when he got me my first guitar, and I wrote my first song that day. It was Christmas, I remember. And honestly, I haven't obviously stopped since then. So that's really how I got started.
That's awesome. Parents they have a way of trying to bring the best side of their kids, get that potential in there somewhere, recruiting, if you will. I
I
remember
agree.
I remember when I was young, my parents they put me too, and I was a very very shy kid. I didn't want to talk to nobody, and yeah, I sing, and I was a decent singer, but I'm no Karen McCormick. I'll tell you that right now. I ain't I ain't got no pipes. That's mostly my sister. One of my sisters, she has a strong singing voice. She was meant for singing. I'm more into talking on the radio, so I think I made the right decision. So I'm okay with that. Um, and begging for the guitar. That you know, it's his fault that got you into the music. So my so it is what it is. It just good things happen. So I'm glad it worked out. Uh,
Me too. Me too.
so I want to talk about this song that you put out recently, "Dancing with Him Tonight." Um, let's talk about this record. What was it like recording it, and to talk about the story behind this record?
Absolutely. I'm really excited to have this song finally out because I want to preface that this is one of the oldest songs that I've written, and it's what I would call a quote-unquote pre-Nashville song. I wrote it by myself back in Washington, and part of it is very true. I did really go to the rodeo with my friend Courtney. She was my best friend in high school, and we're still friends to this day. I did see somebody that I thought was really attractive, end up dancing with him, but the premise of the story for me was about I would be willing to dance with him because I'm not the most let's go dancing type of person, but I do think that you stumble across certain people that will bring you out of your comfort zone and make you want to do things that you wouldn't normally do because you feel that they're excited or worth it. And that was the story that I wanted to tell when I was writing this song. I always end any gig that I do, any show that I do, I always end with this song. And I started noticing that people were having a reaction to it. And so I decided to make it my first single of 2019 because I felt that it would kind of start things off with a bang. And I knew that some people were really excited to hear it. And ironically, we were talking about Taylor Hughes earlier. The way that Taylor and I met was I was playing around here in Nashville at Just Love Coffee, and she had done a round right before me. She decided to stick around, and I played that song. She came up to me after, and she was like, "That song is incredible. Let's write. Let's be friends." And so it really has opened doors for me in ways that I haven't really gotten a chance to truly think about. And going into the recording process, my incredible producers, Lucas Hathaway, Caleb Lovely, they both worked on my previous single, We Were on Fire, and I was really excited to work with them on this one. They did such a great job of bringing my vision to life, of kind of making this my, I guess you could say, arena song, in the sense that it's kind of a powerhouse song for me, kind of a, country rock pop mix. And I was kind of like, oh man, how are we going to really bring this song to life? Because I knew that people had heard it. I knew they kind of had somewhat of expectations going into it. But Caleb and Lucas did such an incredible job, and they really brought my vision to life. And I really feel that they captured that essence of the story I was trying to tell. And it kind of sways, it kind of ebbs and flows. And I'm really, really excited to finally have it out.
That is awesome. I definitely like the record. Nice feel to it, nice vibe to it. And country singers, they have the storytelling patted down. Like, and we was talking Taylor Swift earlier. You was mentioning Taylor Swift. People forget, before she was selling millions of records, every other album, she was a country singer. And I think the first time I heard of Taylor was the VMAs. Unfortunately, it was the year when a certain individual chose to take that moment away. I ain't gonna mention his name because he ticked off a lot of people these days, and we all know why. But Taylor, she's a big star. She's a superstar, and it all started with her being country, and then she moved on to pop. She's the truth. What can I say? Can't hate the numbers. I'm a statistic nerd, and I like to see who sell the most records, or whatever the case may be. She sells like a million, like the last 3-4 albums. Like, how can you beat that? How can you beat that?
Right. I think that Taylor is a great example of, the truth sells and authenticity sells, and Taylor has remained true to herself from the very beginning of her career, and I think that because of that, that's how she's built such a loyal fan base. And people relate to storytelling, and people relate to real stories, no matter, I think, what the genre it is, and she's just done a great job of that.
So, you as an artist, as a songwriter, who else are some other musical influences you look up to?
I would say, and in terms of performing artists, Carrie Underwood and Casey Musgraves are two of my biggest inspirations. I absolutely love that Casey Musgraves isn't necessarily considered a powerhouse vocalist, but her voice is such a storytelling voice that it really just captures you from the moment she starts singing a song. And I relate to that because that's really how I feel, that my I guess stage presence, the way that I write songs, the way that I go out and perform, and I want my songs to be heard, is very much in line with the way that Casey is. And I just think that Carrie Underwood has done an incredible job of keeping her momentum from all the way back in 2005 when she won American Idol. I truly admire that. I think she continues to grow with each album, with each tour. She seems to challenge herself as an artist. And I love that she doesn't, seem to be complacent with her success. It seems like she always wants to grow. And I think that's, a career that I would want to embody as well. In terms of songwriters, I'm a huge Shane McAnally fan. I think that he is just a country music sensation. He has number one after number one after number one. And I love that it seems that he can do all kinds of styles, from anybody from Casey Musgraves to Miranda Lambert, just all kinds of styles. And I think that that is what makes country music songwriters so successful, is when they can be so versatile and be willing to go outside of a bubble that maybe they have success in with one artist, being willing to try something else and have success with a different type of artist.
I definitely like some Carrie Underwood. I'm not gonna lie. It's not a guilty. It's not a guilty pleasure or anything. I mean, she's authentic. She's a genuine, good person, and she was on American Idol, 2005, and here we are, nearly a decade and a half into her career since that season she was on. She's definitely a model of consistency. I mean, she's very, very good. And people wonder, like, when you go to shows like that and if you might be forgotten, maybe an afterthought, but not Carrie. She's still going strong.
Right,
and
absolutely.
and as for Casey Musgraves, I just heard of her a couple of years ago, and she had a pretty good night at the Grammys. She won album.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Not good, but a great night, winning album of the year. I ain't gonna lie, I was rooting. I think it was Kendrick, Black Panther. I was rooting for one of them to win, but I can't be mad at Casey. She's definitely someone that's the future. Gonna keep getting better. So I'm happy for Casey. So props to her. So you grew up in Washington, then you moved to Nashville. As far as you going to shows and things like that, how do you feel about the support you've been getting from the moment that you moved to Nashville and started doing shows and stuff in here?
That's a great question. I feel that Nashville is very special in that all songwriters and all artists are extremely supportive of one another. And I also noticed that it's something that is very loyal. So, going back to Ashley and Taylor, we've all had opportunities where we're booking a show, and we've all reached out to each other and said, hey, do you want to hop on this show? I have a show coming up. Do you want to do this round with me? Things like that. And I just think it's so important in this industry that when you find people that you click with, and when you find people who are real and have your back, that you really stick with them. And I've noticed that Nashville is full of people like that, and I feel very fortunate to live in a town like that. I feel very fortunate to experience that as I continue to grow as an artist and as I continue to grow as a songwriter. I think that that's really crucial, to surround yourself with such supportive people, because their success is your success and vice versa, and that's what I've experienced so far.
I've heard a lot of good things about the Nashville local scene. I've had a chance to interview a variety of people that has been there. A lot of support towards one another, and I felt while I am sad that Taylor has moved, I am happy that she is doing very well, and she's got a new EP on the way. Ashley already released her album. Now you got your single out. Um, it's a good time for Nashville. The, and while it's a big pond out there in Nashville musically. It's like you can go to the grocery store and you probably see a singer and one into a singer might not even know it. Um, but it's good to see a lot of support from you ladies and everyone else that's contributes to the scene. So that's pretty cool. So Karen, what are some shows that you have coming up that people need to keep an eye on?
Ooh, that's a great question. All right, let's see. I know I actually have a show with Taylor coming up on Wednesday, March 6th, 4 p.m. at Just Love Coffee down on Music Row. Um, Gosh, I know that's like the next one coming up. That's the most immediate. And then I think I have a couple in the process of getting confirmed in April. But that is where I will be next Wednesday, March 6th at 4 p.m.
So everybody go check that out. Support your local artists. Support your local venues. Check out that show. And for those that get a chance to see Taylor, you will get a glimpse of her sassy side. She loves acknowledging that. And hey, there's no shame with that whatsoever. I've seen it firsthand in the last 3 to 4 years, and she's very good. I'm looking forward to her to put out the EP. She's been working very hard about that one. Dancing with Him Tonight is the new single for Karen. It is available on Spotify and Apple Music and some other digital music platforms. Go give that a listen. Stream it, purchase it. You can stream it, that's cool, but purchasing it will be even more cool. Help these talented people out. Show them that love. And go and promote your social media links. Where can people find you in the internet and all?
On Twitter and Instagram, it's going to be Karen L. McCormick. On Facebook, it's going to be Karen McCormick Music. And if you're on YouTube, it's going to be Karen McCormick 17.
It was great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being on here. And congrats on the new single and the love that it's receiving. So will this be leading towards a EP or album perhaps, or are you just putting out songs as of right now?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I want to say that, and thank you so much for supporting local and independent artists. I really do appreciate it. Dancing with Him Tonight is the lead single off of the EP that is going to be coming this summer. I can't say too much just yet, but I will say we started recording the next few songs that will be on there, and I'm very, very excited for what's to come.
I'm definitely looking forward to hearing more in the coming months. You enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you again for being on.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Have a good night.